guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. My name is Muphidaht and I'd like it if you click down below to subscribe to my channel. Today's video is going to be about product placement. When I say product placement, I mean how to put the product on your face, how to blend it out, how to get the most out of your product, how the product is supposed to be on your face so that it would, enhance your beauty and all that. So today I'm going to be taking you step by step on each of the products that you're going to be using on our face. Also, I'm going to be creating a look out of this. So if you want to see how this video goes down, carry on watching and let's get right into it. Caught me at the right time, baby. Oh, I was at the end. Okay guys, so we're gonna start off with priming. The primer is the first step to every makeup routine. Some people do their brows first, some people tend to do their base first, but on your entire face you need to apply a primer. A primer is going to create a barrier between your skin and the makeup to enhance the application, enhance the longevity. There are several primers out there. Today I'm going to be using my favorite primer. This is the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. I'm going to apply a little bit of the primer on my face. What you do not want to do is to apply way too much primer on your face, and what you want to do is massage it into your skin. Personally, when I am applying primer on my clients, I tend to use a skincare brush or like a flat brush to apply the primer on their skin, because I am comfortable using a brush applying primer on other people's skin. On my skin, I just use my good old finger. This primer is not on the matte side, it's more on the sticky, hydrating side. Of course, you want to apply your skincare before applying any primer on your skin. You need to prioritize your skincare over makeup. That's another video on its own. Today we are focusing on product placement. So like I said, you want to apply your primer on your skin and make sure that your skin has fully absorbed the primer. So personally, I like to conceal my brows before doing anything else on my face. So what I'm going to do now is to just brush my brow hairs upwards and then just kind of shape them, and I'm going to apply a little bit of my light concealer. So I've gotten my brows out of the way. The next step is to apply your foundation. So foundation typically just makes the skin flawless, so you want to use a foundation that is good for your skin type. Also, if you want a foundation that is full coverage to hide your hyperpigmentation and all your skin imperfections, that's okay. If you want a skin tint, a foundation that is essentially just going to unify your skin, that's okay. If you want a foundation that is going to make your skin glowy, there are foundations on the market as well. Personally, I like a full coverage foundation. I like a matte foundation. Today I'm going to use the Airbrush Flawless Finish foundation from Tilbury. It is on the full coverage side. I like to put a pump and a half of foundation at the back of my hand. There are these tiny palettes that you can also put your foundation on. I use those palettes when I'm working on clients, because obviously it's not the best to put products on your skin and apply it on someone else's skin. I don't think it's the best. So you can put one pump, a pump and a half, or 2 pumps, or even 3 pumps of foundation. If you feel like you need that much foundation, you can go ahead and put that amount of foundation on your face. Personally, I think the most foundation you need on your face is 2 pumps. 3 pumps is doing way too much, because you're gonna have way too much product on your face and makeup doesn't get absorbed into your skin. It sits on your skin, so you don't want to keep piling up product, otherwise it's gonna easily break apart. You're gonna have a cakey face and you want to avoid that. So what I'm gonna do is to dip my brush in here and then spread it out on my face just to get an even base. So what I'm doing now is blending out my foundation. I applied a little bit and I'm going in to blend it out with my Morphe M439 brush. The reason why I go in with a light layer of foundation and then blend it out before going in with more is that I realized that when I don't do this, my foundation looks cakey. It doesn't look right. So I feel like going in with a bit at a time is the best for me, and I feel like it's actually the best way to apply it, because using way too much foundation is not the best. Also, if by chance you use too much foundation, you can go in with a damp beauty blender like this one and just absorb some of the product on your face. I applied the first layer onto all over my face face and I blended it out. Now this second layer, I am going onto my face to the parts that need the most coverage. When you are blending your foundation with a brush, you want to pat it on your skin, not swirl or swipe. You just want to keep patting it like this. This just prevents your makeup from appearing patchy. So you want to blend your foundation all over your face. As you can see, I'm avoiding my under eye area because personally when I put way too much foundation on my under eye area, I crease faster than usual. I covered how to blend with a brush. I'm going to show you guys how to blend with a beauty blender. When you have a beauty blender, you need to make sure that it is dumb. So what you want to do is to just pounce the sponge all over your skin, just like so. Not swipe, not swirl, just pounce it. Also, when you're applying your makeup, when you're applying your foundation and you're going to use a sponge to blend out, you need to apply the makeup on your skin just as I applied it with the brush. If you apply the makeup at the back of your hand and you dump your sponge in it and then you go ahead and blend it into your skin, you're gonna use more product than usual. I realized that when I use a sponge to blend out, I use too much foundation. I would have to use 2 pumps or 2.5 pumps to apply with a sponge. While using a brush, I use 1.5 pump and then I'm able to cover my skin up as I want to. I also want to go into the corners of your face. You want to focus on the perimeter of your face. So we are done with foundation. My face is looking flawless for the most part. I'm going to go ahead and apply more products onto it to give it shape and dimension and warmth. So we're going to move on to concealing and highlighting. I'm going to be using 2 concealers today. So for concealing, I applied foundation to cover up any discolorations on my face, but I still have some discoloration peeking through. I have a 5 o'clock shadow. Essentially that's the mustache area shadow thing, and my under eyes are slightly more pigmented than the rest of my face, and I didn't cover up that portion of my face with the foundation because like I said, it's gonna make my face a little bit more cakey. So I'm gonna be using my concealer. This concealer is from Too Faced. It's the Born This Way concealer and it's in the shade Butterscotch. So this concealer is literally a shade lighter than me. So the concealer is gonna be able to hide any discolorations on my face, hide any imperfections on my face, and that's essentially the job of a concealer. So I'm going to place it under my eye, my mustache area, a little bit on my chin, my nose, and in between my eyebrows and forehead. So I'm gonna go ahead and blend it out with my beauty blender. I'm going to go under my eyes and then over my eyelid. So once you have concealed and highlighted, or concealed or highlighted, you can go ahead and just leave it like this, or go ahead into the next step I'm about to take you guys into. I'm gonna go in with a concealer. This concealer is not less than 2 shades lighter than me. It's probably 3 shades or 4 shades lighter than me. And I'm gonna place this concealer under my under eye. This is the concealer from Sephora. It is the Gel Serum Concealer. It's also in the shade Butterscotch, but of course it's much lighter than this one. As you can see, this is my first time using this, so I'm going to place it under my eyes and this side of my face. Also the bridge of my nose and my chin and a little bit on my forehead. I'm gonna go back in and blend out my concealer. So unfortunately my camera died on me when I was blending out my concealer, my highlighting concealer, but as you can see I have a really nice highlights going on. So I'm gonna explain to you guys the difference between concealing and highlighting. The difference between a concealer and a foundation is that the concealer is very much thicker than a foundation. The foundation is easy to manipulate as compared to the concealer, and the concealer generally gives you more coverage in comparison with the foundation. So I have 3 concealers here. So these concealers are all great products, right? So what you need to know is that if you need a concealer just to conceal imperfections on your face, you can use this concealer. This concealer is very close to your skin tone, right? So it's gonna conceal those hyperpigmentation and imperfections on your face evenly because it's exactly your skin tone, or it's really close to your skin tone, so it's gonna look like skin, right? You don't want to use a concealer that is too close to your skin tone to highlight, otherwise what is the point? right? So you're moving on to the second concealer. This concealer is close to my skin tone, but it is much lighter than this one. It's probably a shade lighter than this one. So if you want to conceal and highlight at the same time with the same concealer, you can go in with a concealer that is a shade lighter than your skin tone. So when you are concealing and highlighting, you get to kill two birds with one stone. That is essentially what I did previously. I used my concealer under my eye, my mustache area, bridge of my nose, and my forehead. So if you're someone who doesn't want to have too many products on your face, what do? You go in with a concealer that is 2 shades lighter than you. I always suggest that. So if you want to go in with a highlighting concealer, this concealer is very much lighter than all these concealers here. So you need this concealer to highlight with. However, you don't need a concealer that is this bright to conceal, to hide your imperfections, because if you are trying to hide your imperfections with this, it's gonna be ashy. So what you need to do is use this to highlight. This cannot be your concealing and highlighting concealer, because if you have dark under eyes, if you have a 5 o'clock shadow, it's gonna give you an ashy look. It's gonna give you a gray look. That's why a lot of people keep having gray areas on their faces, because they go in with a concealer that is way too light. Instead of correcting with a concealer that is close to their skin tone or a shade lighter, they use this one. So I always suggest, if you are just going in to conceal for just that, use a concealer that is your skin tone or very close to your skin tone. If you want to conceal and highlight at the same time, use a concealer that is a shade lighter than you, preferably, so that it corrects it and gives you a little bit of a highlight. If you want a highlighting concealer, essentially you can use this one to conceal or this one to conceal and go in with a highlighting concealer. So the next step is to contour. So wherever else you do not highlight, you contour, right? So as you can see, naturally where I've put the highlights, you can see some shadows going on my face. So contouring is essentially going to enhance those areas. It's gonna give you a little bit of structure on your face. It's gonna give you the sculpt. You can use a cream product or a powder product to contour, but if you're going to use a cream product, you want to use it while you're using all your cream products. So I'm going to be using a cream contour today. This is my Juvia's Place foundation stick in the shade Sokoto. I'm going to be placing that wherever else I didn't place my highlight. So as you can see, naturally I have a shadow going on here, so I'm gonna place it here. I'm gonna place it here. That is right underneath my cheek bones. I'm gonna place it on my temples and my forehead. Also, I'm going to put a little bit on my chin and jawline area because we have a little bit of structure there, so we want to enhance that. So when it comes to blending out the contour, I like to use brushes that are shaped this way. I have a lot of them, but essentially brushes that are shaped this way, just to be able to blend it out easily. If you are blending what's on your hairline or your temples, you want to blend it up into your hairline, right? So that it doesn't make it look like you have a mask on. So you want to blend it up into your hairline. So when it comes to your chin, you want to blend it upwards to create and enhance that shadow. As you can see, my jawline is really snatched, but you want to blend out your jawline very well. There's so many days I go out and I realize, oh my god, I didn't blend out my contour well. If I didn't mention, this brush is the Real Techniques Insta Pop cheek brush. So for the cheekbones, you want to blend it upwards, just like so, and you're going to blend this up. So as you can see, we've brought back some dimensions and some highlights onto the face. The face is sitting essentially. So this is an extra step. I know not a lot of people like cream blush, but if you like cream blush, I'm going to show you how to place that. This is the Danessa Myricks Color Fix Matte. This is in the shade Carrot Top. It's an orange blush. A product like this, you want to place it at the back of your hand. I always suggest you be careful with products, especially when you're applying them. You just want to be very, very careful. I just pick up any small brush, honestly, and I just spread out the product. And what you want to do is put it right above where you contoured. So right here, upwards. So right above. I'm going to pick up my Instapop cheek brush, what I use to blend out my contour. I'm going to blend it upwards, like so. from the apples of your cheeks up into your hairline. This product dries down very fast, so you want to blend it out as fast as possible. And blending parts, not swipe, not swirl. I just put a little bit on my nose. Please don't put it on your nose if you don't want to. This is essentially the last step of the cream product, and it's important to note that you need to apply all your cream products, especially on your face, before you go in with any powders, because putting a powder and putting a cream on it is not the best. It's gonna make it really muddy or patchy and cakey. I'm gonna go ahead and set my face. I'm gonna use my Charlotte Tilbury Magic Powder to set my face. What you want to do is to make sure that you do not have any creases before setting your face. So you want to blend out any creases on your face before you set. I'm gonna go in with the same beauty blender that I use. I use a brush or a beauty blender, anyone is fine. So I go under my eye. Usually those are the areas that I crease, the sides of my nose, my smile lines, and my eyelids, just to smoothen out any creases. As you can see, this side is no longer creasing, but this side is. So I'm gonna go over this side as well. You need a translucent powder, or essentially a powder that is 2 or 3 shades lighter than you, to set your concealer. So if you use a concealer that is 3 shades lighter than you to highlight, you can use a translucent powder or a lighter powder to set. I like to use loose powders. You can use a pressed powder to set your face or your under eye, whichever you are comfortable with. I'm gonna dip my sponge into it. I'm gonna tap off the excess at the back of my hand, and I'm gonna push it under my eyes and on my eyelids. So as you can see, the set area looks set. It looks stable, no creases whatsoever. I'm gonna go ahead and set here as well. I'm also setting my forehead where I apply the lighter concealer, the bridge of my nose. I'm also going to set my chin and mustache area. So I'm going to set my entire face. I always suggest that you set your foundation, especially if you have oily skin. I always suggest that you use a powder that is your skin tone or a shade lighter to set. And you need a fluffy, dense brush. This brush is from Evita Joseph. It's the G120 all over face powder brush. I'm gonna set my face with the Airbrush powder. You can also set your face with your setting powder. So I'm just going to dip into it like this and then push it into wherever I apply the foundation. Also going to set around my forehead. You can also skip this step if you have dry skin. So the next step is bronzing. You can choose to bronze or not. Bronzer is in the same family as contouring, but with contouring, it's 3 or 4 shades darker than your actual skin tone. Also, it gives you shadows, essentially a little bit more cool toned than bronzing, either be powder or cream or liquid. Bronzer can also be powder, liquid, or cream, whichever you are comfortable with. I like to use a cream contour and a powder bronzer. That's what I like to use, whichever you are comfortable with. So a bronzer essentially is 2 shades or a shade lighter than your actual skin tone, and a bronzer is more warm. It gives you more warmth on your face. I'm going to be using my Fenty Beauty bronzer in the shade Coconutty, and you're going to put the bronzer on your cheekbones. Your contour was placed a little bit underneath your cheekbones, but your bronzer you're going to place on your cheekbones, and you don't want to blend it upwards like the way you blended your contour. You want to blend it in a spiral manner. Also, you don't want to use a packed brush like this to apply your contour. You want to use a fluffy brush like this to apply your contour. This is my View Techniques blush brush. So I'm going to dip my brush into my contour, and you don't want to apply too much, so you apply little by little. If you apply way too much bronzer, it's going to look really muddy. So what you want to do is to place it here, and as you can see, I just keep doing this motion, not this motion, not this motion, this motion. That's how to apply bronzer. So you also want to apply it onto your temples, just like so, and it just gives you a little bit of warmth. You also want to bring it down your chin. So essentially, where else I applied my contour. Personally, I like to use my bronzer to contour my nose. These brushes are my go-tos. They are all slanted like this. This is from the AOA Studio. It is the E125 brush. It came in a brush set and it's pink. And this is my Morphe E62 brush. It also came in a brush set. Unfortunately, my camera died on me. I did my brows and I baked. I also contoured my nose, but I'm gonna run you guys through that. For baking, I used the same translucent powder and my sponge to bake. I bake to enhance the longevity of my makeup, also to catch fallout. I bake to just do a little bit of clean up. So I'm going to go ahead and apply eyeshadow. I'm gonna be using my Evita Joseph X Jessica eyeshadow palette. I'm also gonna be using my CVL Beauty brush. So I'm gonna go in with the shade Truth, this taupey brown here. I'm gonna put that in my outer V and crease area. I'm gonna place that here and you want to blend it outwards and upwards into the piece. So I'm gonna place this on my eyelids with a flat brush. I'm just gonna pack that. Ooh, this is so pigmented. Oh my god. So I'm gonna go back in with this shade. This is the shade K. I'm just gonna use that to darken my outer V with the same brush. Just a tiny bit of it. You don't want to put it anywhere else apart from your outer V, just like so. Just want to pat it on there and then it's gonna look like this. I'm gonna go ahead and apply my blush. Even though I applied cream blush, I'm gonna go ahead and apply my powder blush. You can skip this step since the blush is still peeking through the skin, but I like more blush. So I'm gonna use my Juvia's Place blush in the shade Bella. I'm gonna use the same Real Techniques blush brush and I'm going to apply it how I applied my cream blush. So from the apples of my cheeks upwards, just like so. That's about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my face with my Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. What you should do is to go into your beauty blender and push this into your skin. Preferably, I like to apply highlighter after I have set my face because I feel like it gives me the best out of my highlighter. So I'm going to go ahead and use my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish in the shade Gold Deposit. I'm going to be using two brushes from Morphe. This is the Morphe M506 and the Morphe 451. This is bigger and this is smaller. For the smaller one, it's fluffy. It picks up less products, but it blends it out very seamlessly. So I'm going to put the highlighter into my inner corners and the tip of my nose, as well as the bridge of my nose and my brow bone as well. For my cheekbones, I like to apply it above my blush. So I'm going to put my brush in my product, tap off any excesses, and then start to place it right up here. And you want to blend it like so. So it should give you like a C shape. Once you are done applying, you want to go in and blend. And that's about it. On my lips, I'm gonna go ahead and create a nude lip combo with my 3 NYX products. So I changed my mind and decided to line my lips with my NYX lip liner in the shade Expresso. For the center, I'm gonna use the NYX Soft Matte Cream in the shade London. For my all over gloss, I'm gonna use my Butter Gloss in the shade Madeline. Okay love, so this brings us to the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Everything that I use will be listed down below in the description box. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't. Also give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in my next one. Take care guys.